is taking him so long?
Hey there.
Tony, we're supposed to be covering the car show, not be the car show.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? My dad used to tell me, cars and women are going to ruin your life.
All right, well, go park this. Aren't you used to it by now?
Yeah, I'll go park. This is the old style where they have the engine in front. My engine's in the back, right behind that thing right there.
Tell us about this car.
Well, this is a Mustang that's built from the ground up by my friend Al DeMora. And from what I understand, this is not a Mustang that was converted. Everything was from the ground up. The chassis is made and it gets delivered from out of the country, if I remember correctly. The body, everything, he has his own motor. And then you can order it the way you want. This car can sell for anywhere to $300,000 or $400,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think a majority of it goes, believe it or not, to the wealthy in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy, huh?
Now this is the car that we need for Limelight.
This car here, I'll never forget. This Buick Grand National. In 1983. I think it's 83, 84. 84? Yeah. So my brother and I were going to a trade show in Vegas, and I had a 300ZX. And I told my brother, you drive first, I'm going to take a little nap. So I fall asleep. All of a sudden, I felt the car rumbling. Okay? And I turned around, what are you doing? He goes, I look over, and this thing was right alongside us, a Grand National. I think we're going like about 110 at the time. Up the 15 freeway. But my car was going, bah, 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 bah. Needless to say, he beat us. Okay, I know we're at a car show, but I want to go see that airplane right over there.
Well, we are at the Air Museum after all, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, all the years I lived there in the desert, shame on me for never coming here. I can't wait to come back.
And it sure took the Canadians to get you there.
Well, this is an F-14. This thing will go over Mach 2. I couldn't imagine. Maybe we can take it out. What do you think? Well, you know to fly, right?
I do, yes, yeah. I learned how to fly single-engine planes, but I mean, of course, it's different with modern technology.
Well, yeah. I think this was in one of the Top Gun movies, F-14. So, yeah, it's cool. Very interesting.
Hey, this looks like Princess Peach's car. So Tony, being here is somewhat nostalgic. What was the first car that you've ever owned?
Very first car that I ever owned was a 1973 Ford Pinto.
What was it like to own your first car? I don't remember.
I remember struggling trying to learn how to drive a stick shift. What was your first car?
Well, surprisingly, it could also be considered as vintage because it was a Chevy Cavalier. They don't make those anymore. But it had the manual crank windows and the manual door locks. But I was so excited to own my first car, I didn't even care.
Oh, yeah. Those days, my car didn't even have air conditioning.
Right.
You know, the air conditioning was the windows open.
Yeah.
Back when I was a young kid, my cousin was much older than me. He had a Buick Riviera like this, and it had a record player in the glove box. An actual record player.
How does that work? Didn't it jolt or...
Yeah, well, when he hit, it had like a thing that would hold the record down, but when it would hit a bump, it would actually skip.
Yeah, the studio. Welcome to California Limelight. That was really fun at the Air Museum. What did you think, Tony?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, the cool thing about it was the car show as well. So not only did I get to see some really cool aircraft I love airplanes, but a lot of the cars, in fact, the tape will show that, there was a lot of stories of the different cars that we saw, that as growing up, it kind of brought back some fond memories. And by the way, I do know Freddie Bell.
Cool. He's the director at the Palm Springs Air
right.
Museum. And guess what? I had a chance to speak with Fred himself and his mom, an Emmy Award winner, Roberta Linn.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's explore the Air Museum and hear it from the man himself, Freddie Bell.
We're sitting next to Fred Bell. He's the director of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
So let's talk about you first before we get into the Air Museum. You have two famous parents and a very vibrant life. So let's start there.
Well, both my parents were entertainers, or Roberta Linn, which was Lawrence Welk's first champagne lady, and my father was Freddie Bell and the Bell Boys, and his claim to fame is Big Mama Thornton wrote "You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog," but my dad rewrote the lyrics, which is the version that Elvis performed.
So what was like growing up with parents that were entertainers?
To a kid, they're like mom and dad, and you see them in their underwear and all the other things that you see. Well, they're your parents, right? So you live with them. It's a different world when you go out to dinner and people interrupt you or kind of fawning all over your parents. So you kind of have to learn to live with that.
So what was your journey to making it to the director of the Palm Springs Air Museum?
I've always been interested in airplanes my entire life. I worked in the theme park business for SeaWorld, and then I worked for IMAX for a while, and eventually I worked under contract for Disney a little bit on Fantasia 2000. Captain John Duncan, who was here, said to me, "Hey, there's this air museum in Palm Springs. You should check it out." He and I were members of the Association of Naval Aviators, and I came over, and that was mid-2000, about 2005. They had gone through some changes, and one of the board members rang me up, and he said, "You need to get over to the Air Museum. I need you to run it." And I'm like, "I don't know anything about air museums." "Well, you did this." And I said, "Yeah, but most of the stuff that I did was like build attractions or do stuff like that. I don't know anything about running a museum." And they're like, "Well, get over there." Originally, I was only supposed to be here for about 6 weeks. And now, we're almost 15 years later.
Why Palm Springs specifically for an air museum?
Well, good question. The Palm Springs was home to one of the largest Army Air Force transfer bases of aircraft during World War II. This entire area was covered with these round cement tie downs. That's where they would keep them. And so the airplanes came out of Los Angeles when they were being manufactured. They stopped here, and then they went to all points.
So describe some of the things that people will see when they come to visit the Palm Springs Air Museum.
Well, we have everything from the Wright brothers, replica of the Wright brothers Wright Flyer when you walk in, all the way up to an F-117 stealth fighter. We are a military aviation museum, so there are no airliners. We do take what I call a little bit of Americana, which we have Walt's G1 and Clay Lacy's one of his aircraft. He was a major guy involved with Learjet. We kind of focus on flight and the theory of flight, but with a military bent.
And now, sitting right behind you is one of the crown jewels, the newest crown jewel, if I can say, so a B-29. Explain the significance of having this here in the museum.
Well, the B-29 is associated with the use of those two atomic bombs to end the war in Japan. But the reality of the airplane is they were talking about it as early as 1938. It first flew in 1942. Its first combat mission was in June of 1944. And the interesting thing is it cost to develop $3 billion in 1940 numbers. If you run that out to today's dollars, that's about 48 or 49 billion dollars. The development of the airplane cost more than the development of the atomic bomb, which ended the war, and that was a secret weapon, so to speak. This aircraft was built in Wichita. Portions of it flew out of Saipan during World War II, did all kinds of bombing missions, and then after the war, B-29s with a lot of aircraft were repurposed for various things. There were 16 B-29s that were converted to search and rescue, like maritime search and rescue. This was one of them. And then when its career was over, most of the B-29s were retired in 1960. It was sent up to China Lake, where they used them for target practice. And, well, they were done with them. And at that time, there was no real thought about conservation. The flight deck, which is behind me, survived, and a little bit of the tail and a little bit of the wings and the outboard portion of the airplane. So this is one of the few places that you'll actually be able to see the flight deck.
That's pretty incredible. Now, if we take a look at future generations, I know there's an educational hub and something in development for expanding education, especially for young minds. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have in store for the future?
We're working on the Allen Learning Center, and the Allen Learning Center will be dedicated to teaching both the humanities and then science around flight. We also do teach flying, and not literally, but we have a program that teaches it in conjunction with a training group out at Thermal, and we run about 50 kids through that a year. We are eventually going to build a rocket and propulsion lab on site for rockets, which is our next big step. And we just opened 2.5 acres down south, which is more display area. So we got a lot going on.
So for my last question, what is some of the value of making it out to the Air Museum, whether you're from anywhere in the world or locally? What's some of the best parts of the museum?
To do it right, you have to do 4 to 6 hours in the facility. We have docents. We have 300 docents, and many of them have either military or aviation training. The idea is to give you a very in-depth, immersive experience that we hope you will enjoy and come away and actually learn something. You know, the term, it's been used, but edutainment, where you're getting educated and entertained. We hope we accomplish that. We hear that a lot, that people enjoy it. And of course, the last thing that you have to see is the F-117 stealth fighter.
Well, stay tuned. I have an interview with your mom, Roberta Linn, coming up just a little bit. It was great to hear from Fred and learn about the incredible exhibits. The Palm Springs Air Museum is a treasure trove of history, and well, Fred said it best, a fusion of education and entertainment. The Air Museum is open to the public nearly every day, plus hosts private and grand events like the car show that we saw earlier. So we encourage everyone to come check it out.
Hey, did you mention that you also had a chance to interview his mom,
Yes.
Roberta Linn?
Yes, isn't that cool? Roberta Linn is an award-winning singer and performer. She started acting alongside of Shirley Temple and became a part of the iconic Champagne Lady with Lawrence Welk. And she had her own Emmy Award show on KTLA called Cafe Confidential.
Wow, she accomplished a lot.
Yes, and even at 92 years old, she still performs from time to time and has retired here in the Valley. And fun fact, the shawl that I'm wearing is from her personal wardrobe. Many of her glamorous outfits were custom made by her mom. And she is now starting to sell some of her iconic pieces. So it is very exciting for me to be wearing this from the legendary Champagne Lady.
Let's hear it from the icon herself, Roberta Linn.
All right, it's very exciting to be sitting here with Roberta Linn. You're a Champagne Lady, an Emmy winner, amongst so many other accomplishments of all your life. So thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So we have a lot to cover. There's obviously a lot of fond memories and a lot of things that you've accomplished throughout your whole life. So why don't we start at the beginning? Where did it all start?
Where did I start? I was born in Gravity, Iowa, 200 population. And the family all moved to California. And times were tough. It's the Great Depression. And we all joined a company that supplied actors and actresses and for different movies, like with Laurel and Hardy and so on. So I did about 20 movies as a little girl.
Wow, that's really cool. And you also worked alongside of notable stars like Shirley Temple, is that right?
I worked with Shirley Temple. I was the only one that Mrs. Temple allowed to play in her dressing room. And everything was built to scale for her. And she was absolutely adorable. Mrs. Temple was wild. Everybody saw her come on the set. They go, uh-oh, Mrs. Temple is her. But she was very protective of Shirley, you know. So I did a lot of movies at Hal Roach Studios.
How did you end up winning, one of the biggest awards here, your Emmy?
Well, I got lucky. Then my career blossomed from that into becoming the Champagne Lady with Lawrence Welk. I was the first one on television. That took me then to my own show, and that my own show won me my Emmy Award. I was blessed. A friend of mine, Greg Juarez was his name. He was a wonderful actor and a very wealthy gentleman. He just loved me. And so he bought my star and put it in the walk at Palm Canyon Drive, right on the corner where the library is and near the theater. So I have that one. And most recently, May 23rd, that passed, I was given a star right in front of the Paris Hotel in Vegas. So it's right across from the Bellagio.
You did write a book, but I want to touch base on your book and what's in store for your future.
I have another book that we're working on right now, and a very good friend, he had a nightclub here called Todd T's, so he is putting my book together with the pictures. I've got thousands of pictures,
I want to take a tour of some of your closets, your wardrobe.
Several of them my mother made. Everything is an original in there.
You've got some really incredible pieces in your closet, of course, and the Hollywood star. So you're going to go over each one of these and kind of let us know that some of these are up for sale. So we can start with actually the one that I have on here. This is great for a spaghetti western, isn't it?
It's in my country western show when I had the gamblers at SeaWorld when I sang there. So these are all hand done and hand beaded and designed. Okay. So you'll never see another one like it exactly, and the leather is real and the beading is really, and that looks very cute on you, by the way. This is one of my favorites. I love velvet. I wear a lot of velvet at this time of year. So I have velvet pants, straight leg, bell bottoms and stuff, and I have little velvet tops that go in here. I did a show called Frosty Frolics on KTLA where they had ice skating. And the young man that was one of the skaters beaded that whole collar for me. This was all hand beaded by him and designed by him. That's a skirt and a top. And a lady made them original from a beautiful shop down at the beach, Newport Beach. And so that's a one of a kind. These are all hand painted by a girl by the name of Sabella that was over here in Palm Springs. She moved to Florida. I lost her. But she did all of these that are hand painted as you go along, you'll see. This is like a cloche, like they used to wear in the 20s. It kind of curls under, see? Yep. At the bottom. Uh-huh.
I see right here.
It's been in the closet, so it needs to be steamed out, but it's really pretty on. Very pretty. My mother made that.
Wow.
My mother made it for the Lawrence Welk special that we did out of Branson, Missouri. Life has been good. I have no complaints, and I have a lot to be grateful for.
Wow, what a legend. And thank you, Roberta Linn, for sharing your story.
Yes, it was an honor to capture a glimpse into her life. So, Tony, do you remember our Fiesta Ford speaker giveaway?
Yeah, I remember. That was a fun time.
Yeah. Well, someone actually sent in a video.
What, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's take a look.
Hello, Joseph Whitebird here from Calgary, Alberta. Here to brag about this little rascal that I won on the giveaway draw from the show California Limelight. It's a Bluetooth speaker from Ford. Works great anywhere. I'm sure glad I tuned in. You folks out there keep watching California Limelight now. Here? It's a fun show.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for capturing that great video and sending it along.
Up next, Will has the Hollywood scoop.
Welcome to The Other Side of Hollywood. Well, it looks like the cat is officially out of the bag and it's causing quite the stir in the entertainment world. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are now an item. Taylor Swift, the global pop sensation, and Travis Kelce, the star tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, have merged the worlds of music and football in an unexpected way. Taylor Swift has been making appearances at Chiefs games, which has fueled the dating rumors. And now it is confirmed a match that no one saw coming, but it's bringing a lot of joy to the Swiftie fans out there. Even starting a new trend this past Halloween where Taylor and Travis had become a couple-themed Halloween costume sensation. Love knows no boundaries, and we wish Taylor and Travis the very best. Up next, after sharing a fake on-screen kiss with Harrison Ford, how can I not talk about him? Believe it or not, he is still active in the Hollywood scene. After surmountable success in series like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, he continues to work on sequels. The legendary 80-year-old Hollywood icon states that he is not ready to hang up his hat anytime soon, expressing his deep passion for acting and the profound sense of usefulness that acting brings into his life. So it appears that the delightfully grumpy face that we all know and love is here to stay. For decades, Harrison Ford had remained one of the most cherished A-list actors, and it seems that he has no intention of slowing down, let alone retiring. Ford is now gearing up for a new adventure as he joins the Marvel Cinematic Universe, taking on the role of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, previously portrayed by the late William Hurt. However, while Harrison Ford has no plans to retire, the same cannot be said about some of his beloved characters. Unlike the actor himself, Indiana Jones bids farewell for good in the 5th installment, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This sequel introduces audiences to an aged version of the adventurer, a storyline that Ford felt was important to the character's evolution. When asked if it was bittersweet to part ways with Indiana Jones, Ford's response was as candid as ever. No, it's time for me to grow up. But of course, his impending battles with superheroes in the Marvel Universe suggest that Ford probably doesn't have plans to grow up. So while we may be saying goodbye to Indiana Jones, we're saying hello to more exciting adventures with Harrison Ford on the big screen. So I guess I'll be seeing him later after all. Alright, that's it for The Other Side of Hollywood. So I waited almost the last minute to bring this up before our top trends. My wonderful co-host, Tony Pomponio, has 4,000 projects that he's working on and has made the tough decision to step back from the limelight for now.
Well, you know what, Will? It's been a great run. We've had so much fun. I remember the first day I met you on El Paseo in Palm Desert. I knew that you were a really ambitious person and you had such a bright future. I am so glad that we started the show together, and you know it's catapulted into something that people love to watch with a lot of information. I wish you all the best. I hope that from time to time I can make an appearance. And but the best thing is we are going to be friends forever.
Oh, thank you, Tony. And thank you so much for all your kind words. We've had a lot of fun playing sports and challenges and all that great stuff. So we wish you all the best in your endeavors as well. And we look forward to your grand return. So let's make this count.
Top trends.
It is with heavy hearts that we pay tribute to Matthew Perry. On October 28 of 2023, he was found deceased in his home right outside of Los Angeles. His sudden death took the world by surprise, but it also illuminated his publicly known substance abuse struggles. Matthew Perry, the Canadian-American actor, gained superstardom as Chandler Bing on the show Friends. While many fans of the show Friends may not have been able to tell that his addictions were so severe, but for him, it was relentless. Regardless, he was a key role that shaped the iconic series as we know and love, watching the journey of a group of friends grow into their established adult years, which still holds a relatable experience across generations today. So Tony, Friends was such an iconic and globally renowned show. What was the show's impact for you? What was it like when you were watching it?
You really want to know?
Yeah,
I only watch a show to see Jennifer Anderson. to be honest with you. But I did take some notes from Joey. I was a young guy in those days too, and I was kind of like Joey, to be honest with you. But the girl next door really caught my eye.
Whew. Absolutely. Well, when I was growing up, so I was young and I was watching these, 20-something, early 30-something, and I remember thinking, that seems like an eternity away for me. And now I'm actually, the same age or even a little bit older than when the cast was casted. So it's kind of a surreal experience, but still relatable. That feeling of growing up and finally kind of getting more and more responsibilities and being more established in life. So even to this day, whether there might be some technology outdates from the movie or the show, it's still a very relatable series.
No, time flies, young lady.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish all the friends and family and all those impacted by Perry's passing peace during this difficult time. Well, that wraps up episode 10. Thank you, Tony, for being such an amazing co-host, and best in luck to all your endeavors, and we look forward to having you back.
Well, you know what? It's been a wonderful run, and like I said earlier, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for supporting me on California Limelight. I am Tony Pomponio.
And I'm Will Steph Wilson. See you next time. Tony has left his key to the Limelight studio, but that's not the end of Limelight. We have some amazing guest co-hosts coming up. But wait, there's more. Have you ever dreamed about being in the Limelight? If you or someone you know would like a chance to co-host a future episode, email us at californialimelights@gmail.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you to Fiesta Ford and Quick Lane for their ongoing support.